This is Reyes by Gore Williams, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chaps live show. I'm your host, Joe Zampa, and today I'm joined by some fantastic co-hosts. First of all, the one and only Chris Chapman. How you doing, Chris? You good?
I'm very well, thank you, Joe. Yeah, very much looking forward to discussing two Derby 1-1 draws and plenty of other stuff. So yeah, it's good to be back, mate.
Fantastic. Cheers for coming on. And underneath yourself is the one and only Danish destroyer. I'm not talking about Mikkel Kessler. I'm talking about Jesper. How you doing, Jesper?
I was impressed that you remembered him. He was quite a good boxer, actually. Yeah, I'm doing well, Joe. Besides all the nappy changing, it's nice to come on here and talk about something that I also really love.
Don't give me that. Don't give that. Listen, guys, off there, I said, how you get there? He goes, oh, yeah, it's been really difficult. I've been doing loads of nappy changes. In Denmark, they get 3 months paternity leave. All he's got to do is clean up a few little shitty nappies where the rest of us go to work and then go back and then change nappies in the evening. So, yeah, Jesper, you got it. You got it good, mate. You got it good.
Yeah, but Joe,
you're getting old. You got short-term memory, you know. That's all I can say.
Yeah, back in
but
my
it's
day,
nice. It's nice to be back on. To be honest, and lots to talk about, and can't wait to get into it. To be honest,
good stuff. I'll say back in my day, we had to wash our nappies and reuse them again. Next to yourself. Is it a blast from the past? He's finished uni. He's now got Wi-Fi connection. It's the one and only TikTok George. How you doing, George? You good?
Good, very good. Happy to be back on. It's been a while, but with better connection, better Wi-Fi connection, better laptop. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I won't be speaking 10 seconds after you. But yeah, it's been good. It's been an action-packed week. 2 derbies, of course. Lots to get into. Lots to talk about. Lots to get into.
Brilliant. It's lovely to hear your voice for the first time, George. And not a robotic sounding voice. Guys, before we go to the chat, very quick one. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I mean, the subscribes have been going up quite dramatically. They've slowed down a little bit over the international break, so we can really do with increasing subscriptions. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Just click on the bell. Click on all for alerts and you'll get alerted every time we go on live or whether there's a show, and all the proceeds we make for this channel goes to Cancer Research UK. Before I go to the chat, a very quick charity shout out for John FC. John FC, I'm sure you're in the chat. Congratulations on winning the auction for George Saville's signed shirts. And there you go. I'm going to bring this one up for you. Just give us 2 seconds. If I can try and load it up. There you go. There's a picture of it, John. So it's George Saville's first season back at Mill when we signed him on a perm, if you remember, before he changed to 23 shirt. So that's all going to be sent to yourself, John. We will sort that out, whether it be myself or Chris. We'll get it across, but we'll definitely meet you anyway, face to face. And really kind of get that donation, and that money will go to the Cancer Research UK, and we'll sort out the funds as well. Before we go to the chat, one more thing. Chris, can I hand over to you? We want to get something out to the listeners regarding sponsoring the show, perhaps, because obviously there's a lot of costs involved in running Chat with Chaps, lots of software and hardware and all sorts of things we need to pay for ourselves or you more like out of your own pocket, and we don't touch the charity money for this. So I'm going to give you a quick minute, just kind of talk to listeners about that and an opportunity for them to really kind of advertise themselves with the channel.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I wasn't prepared, so if this is a bit iffy, apologies. But yeah, so I think everything that Joe said stands in the sense of there's a lot of running costs. I couldn't believe some of the running costs. The subscription that we pay yearly, for example, for the thing that enables us to do these lives is like 350 quid a year, just as an example, right? So there's all these sorts of things, and I think that we're now open for potentially a sponsorship. We only want one. We're not after loads, and every single penny will be either utilised for equipment or donation. That is it. There is nothing else behind that. We're not here to line any pockets or anything like that. It is literally for those two reasons. So if anyone is interested,
not your next safari, is it? It's not your next safari.
No, I've already used last season's 10 grand. You can check with Richard at Cancer Research. You got the form out before anyone starts saying anything.
It's all legit.
No, but joking apart, I think it's it would. There's benefits to it in terms of the exposure. You know, we get on average 2,500 on every single show. You'll be mentioned every single time, and yeah, just putting those feelers out. I don't even know what I'd want in terms of funding. I don't know. This is not, we're not in that game, but it's certainly an opportunity for us to raise even more, because the goal this season, without a shadow of a doubt, is to try and hit that 10K again. That's the plan. And we're already going good guns, Joe, on the walk. So with gift aid, we're now at around £1,300 for the walk. So would be lovely to get to 1,500 if we can.
And for anyone to donate, Chris, that will you put a link in the bio below on the description, so they can click on that and donate, can they?
Yes, it's in my Twitter, and I can put it. I can paste it in the chat as a comment now, actually. And
okay.
Then, but yeah, and obviously just a massive thank you to everyone that's already donated. Your generosity is fantastic, and it will certainly give me a lot of ammunition for when I'm on mile 24 or whatever it is on Saturday night, and I'm thinking about my poor knee. So yeah, I
said to Chris, I'll give him an extra 20 quid if he lets Stato walk around him for the whole 10 hours, giving him stats in his ear. That'd be worth every penny, wouldn't it? Should we go to the chat? Let's go to the chat really quickly, guys. I'm gonna blast through it because I can see it really building up. There's already 126 of you in the live. So first of all, Bobby Millwall, how you doing, Bobby? You good? Good to see you. Carl Bracey, good to see you. John MFC, John. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for the £10 donation, and again, thanks for the donation for the shirt as well. It's very kind and generous of you. So we will speak to you again off air. Friend of the show, Jeff, how are you, mate? Chris Brown, hope you're good. Jeff Cook, good to see you. Matt Richards, Matt, good to see you. Matt is going to come on as a special phoning guest at around 7:30 this evening. So that's going to happen shortly. Matt, we'll see you soon. Leslie, good to see you. Connor, hope you're well. Alex S, bang on time again. Andrew Roberts, good to see you. Good to see you, Rob. Hope you're well, Dave. Stephen Jones demoted to the reserves. No, don't be like that. Don't be like that, Stato. You'll be with us next week, I'm sure. Matt Murphy, good to see you. Born Free, Die Free, good to see you. Mark Lindsay, hope you're well. Good to see you, Rob T. Good to see you, Mark. Good to see you, Craig. Lewis, hope you're well. Lewis, you changed your profile picture. What's going on? Andrew Cahill, Mike Donovan, Paul's brother. Harry, good to see you. There you go, Craig. So look, we're coming to the end of this, guys. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. So lots to talk about, lots to discuss. We're going to talk about the Charlton game very, very loosely, and then we'll probably go a little bit more in depth into last night's game against Palace. So first of all, Charlton versus Millwall, game at the Valley. Ended 1-1, of course. Guys, who wants to go first and analyse it?
Yeah, I don't mind. I'll talk about the Charlton game firstly. I think the initial reaction was from all of us. It was just the hugest of sigh reliefs ever. It was a massive sigh relief. And to have it right, I think we got away lucky to actually escape with a point, because it was a poor performance. And I think that's being nice to say. It was just poor. I think we didn't turn up. We didn't really look up for it from minute one. And one thing you're going to get from a Nathan Jones team, from a Charlton perspective, is that they're going to be up for it. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be in your face. They're going to be passionate. And it was just about us matching them, and hopefully having the quality to then be better than them. And we were really poor. It was a really poor performance, in the sense that I think we lacked a lot of the basics in terms of desire, drive, determination. It was a really poor performance, and say the red card for Charlton absolutely changed the game, because up until then I thought they were pretty comfortable. I know towards certainly the start of the second half we looked a little bit more threatening, but we didn't really create a whole load of chances, and then their man gets sent off needlessly, really. A second yellow card, a red card, changed the game completely. And then in the end, some would say we were actually unfortunate not to go on and win the game. Bangura Williams had one disallowed, and then obviously scored And on another day we could have potentially nicked one at the end as well. So just happy really that we didn't lose, I think, is the main talking point there.
Brilliant. That's great analysis there from yourself, George. Thanks, mate. And anyone want to go next?
Well, I can. It was a poor performance, I think, but I think it was a poor performance in terms of us going forward and us trying to create something in that game. I don't think we were necessarily under any sort of massive pressure, and I think we controlled the game fairly decent, considering it was a derby and it was us playing away from home. But there was just nothing stuck up there, nothing stuck with our strikers, combination wise. We looked disjointed. And it was only the first decent passage of play, in the second half that got us the goal. Without that pass from Brian into Condell, we don't score in that game. As simple as that. So it's disappointing, but it's a theme, that's been going on for a long time. That we are struggling to create stuff up front. Yesterday was more positive, but just really disappointing to see that we couldn't break them down. To be fair. And then something, came to me just after the final whistle when I ordered my 5th Guinness, and that was like, are we not notoriously poor, the first game after an international break? And we had stats of digging into that. And what was it? The last 11 or 12 games, we had not won one single game after the international break. And I think we've lost 7 or 8 and we've drawn 4 or 5 or something like that, which is a weird statistic though. I can't understand why we're so poor after the international break, but yeah. So, considering that, it wasn't a surprising, I guess, end result after all. But very, very weird, I have to say, when we really dug into that statistic.
Cheers for that, Jesper. And then Chris, coming to yourself. Obviously, we started 4-4-2. Chris, it was a very, very poor first half. Perhaps you could sort of talk a little bit about the formation change and switch with Bangura Williams coming on at the second half, and how that kind of affected or changed the game a little bit. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just before I touch on that, I think that the most disappointing bit for me, other than being out fault, which we discussed, is not to discredit Charlton, because they worked incredibly hard, but Charlton didn't throw us anything that I don't think we were not expecting. And that's the bit that disappoints me, because we had 2 weeks to prepare for that and we didn't. And that was like, well, what's going on here? And you have to put that down to the manager, really, in all honesty, right, in terms of that. So that was one thing. But in terms of the tactical change, and we saw this, maybe it's a nice segue into talking about Crystal Palace just after that, there's no point having 2 players up top if the only way of getting the ball to them is just pumping it up to them. There's no point. So actually, by installing someone else in that midfield, it gives you that extra body that enables you to get yourself further up the pitch and closer to that centre forward, that then enables other players to be brought into the game. So it's a huge different dynamic. And I know managers talk about doesn't matter what system and stuff like that, but I think it did change the game. And obviously Reyes had such a big impact when he came on in that game. And obviously it was great to see him in a slightly different role yesterday. I think for me now, I would be shocked if we play 4-4-2 against Watford on Monday. I really, really would be. And it's just whether he plays a 4 at the back or a 5 after, I know we didn't win, but it seemingly worked yesterday, didn't it?
Also, you and I have been to a few games together, a few away games, and I must say it's not often you're that pissed off after a game. But you were proper sulky, weren't you? As you stormed off. So it couldn't be that. It couldn't be that bad, surely. No, of course not. George, coming to yourself next. I mean, Bangura Williams. Just to give him an honourable mention, really. I mean, his impact. 2 goals, 1 disallowed, a late equaliser. How important is Bangura Williams to this team, and should he be starting, in your opinion?
It's certainly, in my opinion, I think he should be starting. I think his impact off the bench certainly was a big one for us. I think just his composure on the ball, his ability to take the ball down and have a little bit of calmness. Certainly we were very frantic, the amount of long balls and knocks into the channels, trying to play up to the 2 big men and sort of skip in the midfield. wasn't working at all. And having Bangura Williams in there, who's got a little bit of composure on the ball, a little bit of trickery, certainly worked. And extremely unlucky with the first goal. Probably the right decision for it to get disallowed. But I mean, it's just bounced up and hit him on the arm. It was extremely unlucky, but the finish was great. And then the perseverance to keep going and then get the second, his second one, but the one which actually counted was great perseverance. So extremely happy with him. And even, I know we're going to get onto the Palace game a little bit later, but his performance yesterday, a lot deeper in a sort of number 6, number 8 role was very, very impressive. And I did say in pre-season, I think you've got to find a way to have Bangura Williams in the team because he's so talented.
Do you think he should play more centrally, George, in your opinion? I mean, often he's playing out right, isn't he, as an inverted sort of wing, a bit like Negley is sometimes. But where do you see his best position? Because
I see his best position definitely central. Whether or not it's as far back as he was yesterday, I think yesterday with Dan Kelly getting injured, he sort of just filled a hole there, didn't he? Dropping back so deep into almost the number 6 position. But when he first broke into the team last season, I remember he scored at home to Dagenham and Redbridge, and there was the games against Pompey away. Who did we play at home of? And he got a really good assist. Cardiff. He was predominantly in that sort of number 10 position. As we've seen, that's where he's been most impressive. So certainly in that number 10 position centrally, rather than out wide, is where I would see him as his best position. But yesterday showed versatility. It showed his versatility yesterday, dropping much deeper.
Yeah, very, very mature performance. And as you say, George, we will touch on that a little bit later on. Just coming to yourself, I mean, Marku had a great game. So much that he even got their fullback sent off, of course, didn't he, Ramsey? Do you feel that Marku was a real game changer? Was it Reyes? What was the difference you feel in that second half, apart from the sending off, of course?
I think Marku he was probably one of the better performances without setting the world on fire. The thing is, I think we talked a bit about in the chat yesterday as well, when we talk about, goals and goal contributions as well, he's trying very hard. He's on his 3rd season now at the club, and he's had, I just looked at it, I think he's played around 60 odd games, and he's had like 4 goal contributions. And is that good enough for us? I know he's trying hard and he is improving, but we're talking about the end product. That final pass, once you get into a shooting position, make sure you hit the target, etc. And he doesn't. And that's the biggest concern for me. You can try all you want, and that's all well and good. But as Nick Hart mentioned on his podcast, this is not a mates club. We're here to get results. We're here to win games for the football club. So is this good enough? I feel for the kid. He's putting he's putting 100% effort in. I'm just wondering, whether he will make it at our club or if it's just a step too far from him in the championship. I don't know. And considering the players he's up against, if we're talking about the left wing, Doughty, Femi Aziz, and you got Ballo coming in now, I'm just finding it hard to see him, starting regularly when these players are fit.
Can I ask
if they are, yes, of course you can.
Let me ask a question. I'll ask this to you boys, and then put your opinion in the chat right now. Forget precedents. Just right now, for the next game, if you had to start one of Imaku or Negley, who would it be?
Good shout.
Question. Yeah.
Yeah. What will you say, George?
I would actually go Imaku. I'd go Adamo Imaku, and the reason why I say this is because up until he shoots, I think he's brilliant, and he still drifts in and out of games, but his sheer sort of rawness and his determination and his hard work to keep going is a trait which you don't get. You're not born with it. You are born with it. You don't develop it, right? So that's what Imaku's got. He just keeps going. The matter of the fact is his end product has to improve. Because up until he shoots, he's great. He's lively. He's one of our better players, certainly. And it's just that final end product which he has to improve, certainly to be a mainstay in this Millwall team in the Championship, especially for a team which are looking to push on. But if we're talking about Monday night and the Watford game, I've not been too impressed with Negley recently. And I just feel like off the ball, and who's going to give us a little bit of a spark, a little bit more excitement, who's going to get us off our seats more, I would personally say Adamo Imaku at this moment of time.
Yeah. No, I love that. Fantastic. Chris, a lot of them coming through Marku at the moment. Marku, some even saying Ballo, that they say forget Marku, forget Negley, let's go for Ballo. Marku all day long.
The question, Rob.
but the only thing I will say to the question, Chris, is that they are playing two different positions. Do you mean like Marku should compete with Negley for the right wing spot? Is that what we're talking about here? Or
yeah, I mean, he came on yesterday, didn't he? Played on the right, and dare I say it, it's to George's point. I think it's not just when he shoots; he's crossing a lot of the time, and obviously a lot of the time his point is to knock the ball past someone on the right hand side and use his left foot to cross. Maybe playing him on the right changes that. I don't know, but if I had one spot in the team as we stand right now, I just think Negley's bang out of form, and the lack of fight he showed on Saturday in the first half was really disappointing. Don't get me wrong, in a 10, that's a different conversation. But then if you're playing a 10, I'd play Reyes at the minute, or Luke Cundle, dare I say it, because I thought he looked pretty good when he played that role for the last 20 minutes against Charlton. So,
but I don't know. But Chris, they are also very similar. Reyes, Bangura, Williams, and Negley. They remind me. I mean, they've got similar traits, don't they? They can sort of play on the right. They can play in the 10. Both. I think they will be competing against each other for game time in these two positions, if you ask me. But remember, we joked about on transfer deadline day that Marku should be playing right back, and yesterday he did do that. He came on as a right wing back. Obviously, we didn't see much of him, but you do wonder, like, if he gets his head down, knock the ball past the defender, and do it with confidence. Because yesterday he did it once. But I think he was lucky to get away with that one. It was a poor first touch. Did get past the man, did get the corner, and we did score from that. I think he has to trust his ability a bit more. Sometimes he seems a bit hesitant, trying to get past the player, and just trust his guts. And because sometimes he will lose the ball. That's a given. When you're a winger, you one-on-one, you're going to lose some battles, you're going to win some, but once you try and go past the player, you need to do it with confidence. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your battles. And I think that's where it is sometimes, that he doesn't really trust himself all the time. And that's why he makes, that's why he's got, good games. And then he's got, sorry to say, some really poor games, and people are slating him off. Decision making, exactly. That's what it's all about. And of course, self-confidence as well.
No, you're right there in terms of, I saw what Stephen said in the chat, that both Idemo and Negley, they're two different types of players, where Idemo is much more of a touchline winger. He likes to get the ball to feet and you run. He's very direct, whereas Negley's a little bit more of an inside forward. He likes little intricate passes, 1-2. Dribbling is maybe a little bit more of his sort of standout attribute. So they are different types of players. And I think if you're having an out-and-out winger, someone who's going to be a touchline winger, I think Marku is the better player, especially because, like Chris said, Negley is so a bang out of form, so low on confidence right now.
We will, guys, we're going to talk about Marku and Negley a little bit more depth, because we're going to do a second part with Palace. So let's skip that one for now and go back to it. Before we move on, Chris, answer here to Stephen Jones, Stato. Also, can we hear Joe talk about Luongo on Saturday? Look, he had another outstanding performance, didn't he? We felt against Charlton, he was battling, he was winning his tackles, he was getting around the pitch. More so that I think he was rested more than anything else against Palace, it seems, wasn't it? Because he put that much effort into it. What was your thoughts on Luongo's performance? Is he a player that we feel that we kind of need or rely on quite heavily at the moment?
I think Luongo is playing a different role to probably the one that everyone thought he was going to, including himself, which is playing a lot more minutes. And that's because of where we find ourselves with injuries. I think, to me, it's pleasing that he's come out of that. And when he's played, I think he's not let the side down. He's actually looked pretty comfortable. He was the one that was flying into tackles on Saturday, right? And blocks and things like that. And that's what you're going to get with him. I think he's one of those players that just every game will go out there and give it his all, and he's quite a physical player. So I quite like him. Do I want him to start every game? No. But when you think about him as an option in the 18 to either come on and shore up a midfield, or to go on and just sort of try and take the sting out of a game and just try and control the pace a little bit, in a way that's Saville type role, but maybe even better than Saville. I don't know. So yeah, I've been impressed with him. I really like the look of him. I think he's only going to get fitter as well. The central midfield, though, I don't know, it was in the chat, I think it was Daniel Clements. Imagine what options we've got in the centre of the park when everyone's fit. Like, there's so many different combinations in a 2 or a 3, right? We've got loads when you add Smallbone into it.
And very different type of players as well. Like you say,
Yeah.
some offer us experience, some offer us, youth, some offer us, technical ability, some offer creativity, some offers, there's such a varied line of midfielders we can pick and choose from. We can almost tailor them if they're all fit to certain games, couldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is the other thing as well, when you've got all these different formations that maybe now seemingly we'll explore. I still think the one position, sorry to bring it up, is right wing back. If we're going to play a 5, who plays right wing back? I'm sorry. Yeah, Howland had a good game last night, but he's not good enough to play as a first.
You almost want to clone Crammer, don't you, Chris, and play him as a right wing back and that kind of right centre back role as well.
You do.
He's that good. You want him in both positions, don't you, at the same time? Obviously, you can't, but that's the kind of level we need.
Tristan, because.
But sorry, do we honestly think we're going to go 5 at the back from now on? I doubt it. I think we did it yesterday because we played Palace and we had a very young team. We wanted to congest that central area, and
that's what Alex Neil said.
If you look at the personnel, we got 7 decent central midfielders. We got 3 wingers on each side. If we're going to play 5 at the back, suddenly we're overloaded with sort of central midfielders who are not going to play. So it's about how do you find a system that suits us the best right now. I think a 4-2-3-1 in some sort of way is the way to go around it, because otherwise we're going to be short in personnel in terms of defenders if we're going to play 5 at the back. And you're not going to put Femi at a wing back or Neckley at a right wing back. It's not going to happen. So
I think Femi could play a wing back, by the way, out of all of them.
But I think he has. Didn't he?
At
Preston, didn't he?
Was it under Harris?
I think when we went to Preston, we played sort of a right wing back sort of type.
He did.
A really weird formation, and it sort of worked. It wasn't really impressive, but
it worked in the sense that he tracked back and he did a lot of the defensive duty. But we did feel he lacked that last third sort of presence because he was having to track back so much. We couldn't get him in the right areas when we were attacking. That was the only downside to it, weren't it?
Yeah.
No, what Jesper just said there about the formation change, I don't see a world where we play a 5 at the back against Watford on Monday. I think the only reason why we went to a 5 at the back against Palace last night was because of the individuals we had available, but also to match Crystal Palace's formation. So we could be dangerous in the transition, which is actually, funny enough, the opposite to what he did against Charlton, because Charlton, he went 4-4-2. And it clearly didn't work because we don't have the individuals to play that formation currently anyways, or it just didn't work on Saturday, did it? Whereas the 5 at the back did work against Palace. So I think he'll go back to a much more traditional 4-2-3-1 on Monday.
Yeah, no, I think so. Very, very last one, guys. We're approaching 7:30, so Matt's going to join us shortly. Do you feel that game against Charlton was Charlton losing it, or did we kind of win it, if that makes any sense? Was it us that sort of deserved... got the draw? It felt like a win, didn't it, at the end? Was it us that deserved that draw, or was it more their downfall, do you feel? What was the...
Definitely their downfall. We didn't deserve anything from the game, I don't think.
Yeah. I think Chris kind of agrees with you, don't you, Chris?
I do. The only thing that I would say is, and I said this in my post-match of last night, I do think that we've now got this sandwich of our best performances of the season being the very first game and then our very most recent game against Crystal Palace. So what I'm hoping is that Charlton was the end of a patch of bad performances. And I think someone put it in the chat, maybe the occasion got to some of the players and it was at their ground. They're going to be up for it. I'm not making excuses. You saw how angry I was, but maybe it was almost the kick up the arse we needed, and the kick... not up the arse, but it had to fail as badly as it did in that first half for Alex Neil to realise that 4-4-2 no longer works. And if that is the case, then maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
What do you make of this, Jesper, from John C? What about Leonard in a back 3 with Taylor and Cooper, and then keeping Crammer as a right wing back? So we're still going with a back 3-5, if you want to call it that. Leonard, I'm guessing, on the right side, so that probably suits him defensively, where he doesn't have to get forward too much. You've got Cooper as the big guy in the middle, and we've seen Taylor quite comfortable on that left side, although it's not his natural foot. He can use his left foot. He seemed quite comfortable, didn't he? Is that a possibility with Sturge as a left wing back, I'm guessing?
Well, it is a possibility, and it's a possibility when we play like your Leicester's away from home or Southampton away from home or teams like these. But I just don't think that, with all the players available in midfield and our wingers as well, I just don't think that we will maximize the potential of the squad by using 5 defenders. I don't think that's the way to go. Maybe in certain games it will be, but overall I don't think so. No. But
okay.
yeah, I mean, to answer the question, if Leonard could play in central, yes, he can. He can. He's done it before, and he's done it admirably. And I think he will fit in better than he will on right back for sure.
Excellent, Chris. Are we ready for Matt?
Yep. Yep. Let me get that lined up.
Just quickly, I'll touch on what we were just saying there. I agree. I think we don't have the individuals at our disposal right now to be playing off either. But I remember a couple of years ago under Gary Rowett, we had the same issue where we would play a wing back system, and we was playing, I think it was Danny Mack at right wing back, and Danny Mack is not a wing back. We was almost shoehorning him. He's much more of a defensive right back. So
absolutely,
yeah, we don't have the individuals to play that formation at the moment.
Hello, Matt. Can you hear us? It's going to be where it doesn't work. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris. You can't hear me.
Yeah, can everyone hear?
Very, very faint. I know that. Can he high his volume up at all?
I can hear it through your screen, but he's not.
Right, but it's not.
Yeah.
You try that again, Matt. You don't know if you can hear us at all, Matt.
But I don't think you can hear me.
We good now?
Oh, we can hear. Yes. A lot better.
Yep. It was. It put it this way. Completely my fault.
I thought it would be.
Sorry, Matt. Sorry, Matt. Welcome to the show, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, nice to be here.
Do you want to just obviously we're finishing up talking about Charlton. Obviously, we stood next to each other. What was your overall perspective on that game?
And was Chris really pissed off, Matt? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, it's like seething anger. I think just to my right. And to my left was Phil Clark, who wasn't much better to be fair. So,
he was worse.
He was probably worse, yeah. But I think a lot of us were though, right? Yeah, I mean, I think what I'd add to it is I've been reflecting on it for a few days now, and I don't know how much the build up to the game affected the players. There was a lot of hype about the 29 years, etc. And even Alex Neil after, didn't he? He said, I'm glad I wasn't the one who kind of lost it. And look, I'm not excusing the players at all, because I think there is an issue of mental toughness in the team and the squad. But Charlton had the bit between their teeth, because they were out for revenge, weren't they? They really wanted it. We were like almost as if we were kind of protected and trying to defend that 29 years, and it's a different mentality, isn't it? So I don't know.
Matt, did you sense there was a slight bit of nervousness almost from our players from the off?
Yeah, and definitely, yeah. And
but why is that? Well. Is it the occasion? Is it just a little bit of I don't know? Maybe probably Nathan Jones probably managed to kind of motivate them better than Alex Neil did. Where do you kind of see that problem lying with?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say it's all the players, but I think we spoke with Negley. There's definitely times when he was coming down the right, and he could have tried to. He didn't try and beat one player on Saturday. I can't remember him trying to do that. Leonard as well. He was kind of getting forward, but then not driving on. So what was it stopping them doing that? I think that was part of it. I think nervousness is part of it, and some of it is just kind of application as well. But yeah, that's just in reflecting on the last few days, thinking about that. Charlton were definitely up for it, and we weren't. And like George was saying, we did get out of jail free, without a doubt there.
We did, and I think, put it this way. I know this is really easy to say if you take out any of the context of the game, but if you'd have said to most Millwall fans before the game, you're going to go 1-0 down, and then late on, you're going to equalise, and it's going to be 1-1, I think most Millwall fans would have taken that, if I'm being really honest. So I know obviously you haven't got the context of how shit the performance was in the first half, but in terms of on paper, the actual outcome, I think most fans would have taken it. But Matt, just talk us a little bit about, what was different last night. Obviously, a lot was the clientele, the formation, but from just the overall performance level, what pleased you about last night?
I mean, so much. Before the game, I was like almost dreading it. After Saturday's performance, and you're thinking, "Oh Christ, we've got Palace." And then when I saw the teams, like both the teams, and the first thing I was thinking was, "Crisis." Hope we don't get, humiliated here. Really, what would that do to the general mood amongst the team, the squad, and the fans? So yeah, happily surprised. I mean, I think there's so many positives.
Who are the standout players for you yesterday, Matt? In your opinion?
So I think So the top two I'd say was Mazu Sakho. The challenges he was making and the energy he had throughout the game, it was so impressive. He's got power and confidence. And he's only 20. He's only 20, or everyone's only 20.
Incredible. Even I'm 20. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, and Taylor, really so impressive with Caleb Taylor. He's again the challenges he was making. He's getting forward. He's got confidence. He was getting forward in the first half, wasn't he? And it's his full debut as well. So those two stood out.
What did you make of Ballo, Matt?
I liked him. I mean, he's so slight, isn't he? But I mean, if it wasn't for a couple of bad misses, he would have had a couple of assists, wouldn't he? So I did feel for him, really.
He put a great ball in for Coburn, didn't he? For that chance that Coburn, I don't know what Coburn did with it, but he sort of fluffed it, didn't he? Unfortunately.
I mean, he was. He was the one who passed it to Negley. But I mean, the ball in was great, and it's just Coburn just tried to go and he was right, didn't he? And then he should have gone with his left, and he looked like Ambi on ice, didn't he? Really, unfortunately. And I do feel a bit for Coburn because I thought he played well, and I don't think he was that bad on Saturday actually, Coburn, but he's getting a bit of stick at the moment, isn't he?
Well, he was battling against three, world-class international sort of defenders, weren't he? When you think about it, their back three was very, very solid, and he's fighting against them. He's trying to hold the ball up. And he did it quite well at times. I think he held the ball up, laid it off to players around him.
I really rate that Lacroix as much as I don't like to say. He's an absolute tank.
He's really quick, isn't he? He's really quick.
He's got that ability of being very classy, very continental, but yet had that kind of grit and that strength. He's got the best of both, the physical and the technical attributes, which is a bit like Saliba or Gabriel, that kind of ilk.
A bit like Tristan. So I want to talk about Tristan and Matt. I want to welcome your opinion. For me, last night was a bit of a coming in age of performance for Tristan. Penalty aside, absolutely shocking. But obviously 90 minutes playing, in a different system again, centre back of three. The captain, you could see him. He was marshalling the younger lads. You could see that on the pitch. And I thought for the majority of the game, he dealt with Mateta very well. Would just love to get your thoughts on the good-looking French bastard.
Yeah, he's far too good-looking, far too. I mean, it's so impressive. When you think he joined us only last year, I don't know. I don't think he's had 30 championship performances yet. But if you look at them, I mean, I'd say 95% of them have been superb performances. In two positions. What a player, and I love his attitude as well. I think he loves it at the club. You can see him with the fans. He's always trying to G up the fans, and I was really surprised, but pleasantly surprised to see he was made captain last night. I think that shows you that Alex Neil, what he sees in him as a potential future leader as well. And I mean, he's got all the credentials, doesn't he? He's just steps up all the time. I mean, it's been said a lot that we're missing him at right back at the moment. So that's probably the only downside to him being in the centre, really.
Agreed. I think, as Joe said earlier, if we could clone him, then that would be great.
Yeah, exactly.
Last question, Matt, just related to Rob's point on the screen there, was around Ballo. So, how did you think Ballo played? He's very slight, and he's not exactly a physical specimen, but he seemed to have good eye for a pass. A couple of times he got into good positions, and he's just got that touch of pace, hasn't he? What did you make of his first sort of 60, 70 minutes or whatever he produced?
Yeah, again, positive. I mean, there's so many positives from all the young players who've got coming in. The struggle is, as you guys were talking about earlier, is how do you fit them in, and where do you play them? Obviously, it's good to just have fit players at the moment, but I think, I like what I see so far. We saw this with Zian. It takes a while to adapt, and this is what I'm thinking about Negley as well. It does take a while to adapt to Championship football, and potentially that could be the case with Ballo. So, like I always say, we have to give these players a bit of time, which they don't always get. But no, I mean, first, as I say, he could have and should have had 2 assists last night. And it wasn't his fault that he didn't. So, again, positives, and somebody else we can have down the left-hand side as well.
Completely agree. Well, Matt, thank you very much for coming on, and apologies for messing up at the start. But great to always hear your point of view, and I'm sure we'd love to have you back at some point as well. So thanks very much, mate, for coming on.
Pleasure. Cheers, Chris. See you guys.
See you, Matt.
For the rest of the evening. Cheers, mate.
Good. So guys, formation change. Obviously, we looked at the lineup, 3-4-3 formation. It seemed like with Caleb Taylor, Kamal Grant, Tristan as captain, and Derek Mazu-Sako, aka Del Boy, aka the Peckham Pogba. What did you make of that lineup, guys? And again, which players impressed you the most? I don't know who wants to go first. Anyone? George?
Well, I can. It's fine.
Just
I think it was good that we sort of lined up a bit more defensively, knowing we were playing a Premier League side and we had a lot of youngsters out there. We had quite a few. We had a few debuts as well, so it was always going to be a tough game. So I think Alex Neil, as much as he might have got it wrong in the weekend, he definitely got it right yesterday. And I thought we were solid apart from the first 10-15 minutes where we sort of lacked a little bit of pace, and we ran after Crystal Palace. We grew into the game, and I thought we were value for money, and could have won that game. Created some really good chances, some really good debuts as well. So, and it's just typical us, isn't it? We go and perform like we do on Saturday, and everyone has us, down for a 6-0 thumping yesterday, and then we go out and perform like that. And it's the beauty, and it's also the annoying part of being a Millwall supporter, because why can't we perform like we did yesterday consistently, instead of having these crap performances like we have against Charlton? But that's life, and we're good when we have our back against the walls. Some really positive performances, and I was really impressed by some of the youngsters who really grabbed the chance. And I think Alex Neil must be scratching his head, thinking, they didn't do it. They didn't do themselves any worse in terms of getting closer to a starting position against Watford. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. I thought Millwall more than hold their own yesterday. I thought it was really impressive. I thought we had a very athletic starting 11. Quite a few debuts, and there were quite a few new faces, the likes of Caleb Taylor, Derek, who I think deserves his own segment, because I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday.
His quality,
so good. I mean, obviously Bangura Williams was in there after Kelly got brought off injured, but he's just so athletic, winning the ball back all the time. Maybe on the ball in possession he struggled slightly, but against a Premier League opposition, that's to be expected in a two-man midfield. But off the ball, he looks so quick, so fit, so athletic, and it was a very, very impressive performance.
There was that moment, weren't there, George, where he kind of like wins the ball, tracks back, wins the ball, a great tackle, comes out with the ball, turns, plays a 1-2, I think with Wes Harding, gets it, doesn't have one, then runs up the right wing, gets a cross in, and Sturge, and he scores. I mean, that all started from him winning the ball and bringing the ball up the field and getting the cross in. I mean, I was sitting there thinking, I can't believe this kid. Like, how great is that for a home debut, for a starting place for in our team? Like, he looks so good, didn't he?
No, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. He was definitely one of the standout players. There wasn't a poor performance last night, I don't think. I thought everyone was impressive. We certainly didn't disgrace ourselves, and I think the goal towards the end, the Ryan Leonard header, was the absolute minimum we deserved to at least take the game to penalties, because a lot of Crystal Palace fans are obviously very smug. They're sitting there saying, well, you lost on penalties, but let's have it right. We played nowhere near our full strength, our C team almost, you know, with the amount of players which we had with the players we had on the pitch, yesterday. Palace made very minimal changes, and the changes which they did bring in still had, I mean, their goalkeeper, they changed the goalkeeper. They took Dean Henderson out and they brought in Benitez. You know, Benitez has played in the Champions League for the last 6 seasons. You know, that's the level we're talking about here. So it was very impressive, and we didn't disgrace ourselves at all.
Yeah, excellent points, George. Chris, what was your take on yesterday's game? Any sort of standout players that you want to give honourable mentions to?
Yeah, I think I concur with the census really of what everyone said. I think just for Derek to come in and put a performance in like that, and again, he's 20 years old now.
Unbelievable.
I think when we think about footballers, and by the way, the interview with Craig Heskey, the Millwall player liaison officer, we talk a bit about this. It's coming out in the next week or so. But we think of 20 and we're just, he's a footballer 20. And it's just kind of a throwaway comment. He is 20 years old. Just think about that for a second. If you've got kids or you've got friends, he's 20. He's moved countries on his own, my understanding.
Can't speak
Doesn't
English.
speak English. And he's thrown into a game like that and puts that level of performance in. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And he deserves so much praise and credit. And, you know, based on one performance, so does a recruitment team. But another player I do want to bring up, just because we haven't spoken about him, and right on cue, someone's just put it in the chat, is Mr. Howland. I know it was a very small cameo performance, but he just looks so at home at that magnitude and that level of game. You know, there was one point where he knocked it around the player, ran off the pitch, got it back on, then cut inside, then played it. He just looks so composed and just natural at that level.
Got the assist for the goal as well, didn't he? For the corner.
He did, you're right, Joe. Yeah, he obviously took the corner. It was a decent one. So I don't know. There's just so many positives. Taylor, another good performance. You know, I think I've been saying now for a while.
I was impressed with Taylor. I really liked him yesterday.
And even Grant
and straight away, and Grant did well, but Grant has done well, in previous games against Coventry as well, which I really like, you know. But looking at Callum Taylor, thinking, you know what, I can see what the hype's about. I can see why he was regarded as one of the best defenders in League One and why we weren't after him. Because if he was playing week in, week out for us, I would have no problem with that whatsoever. I mean, he had Roman Esse in his pocket all night. You know, he bullied Esse, and Esse could not get any change out whatsoever. You know, and that just shows you, you know, what Callum Taylor's about. And he's still quite young himself, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think you could see some of his qualities in terms of reading of the game. He seemed to be in the right place at the right time. And so, yeah, he looked awesome. He really did. And I think I want to touch on something that George said. I think it's a really good point, and it could go unnoticed, which is just by having players in the team like Ballo, like Zach, like Derek, we had just a lot more ability to get up the pitch and to carry the ball. Because you think about it, football's quite a simplistic game in the sense that to move up the pitch, you either pass it, like as in intricate passing, you lump it, or you carry it yourself. And at times we have a lack of players that can carry the ball. And we've seen that against Charlton on Saturday, where it was like, right, well, we'll give it to Amaku and see if we can beat someone. So having other players that can do that, it just gives you another string to your bow in games. And I think that we certainly saw that come play out yesterday.
Athleticism is the word, isn't it? It was a very athletic team. We had lots of young players who could cover distance, get up on the pitch very quickly.
Energy, wasn't there? There's energy, there's tenacity, there was speed, everything, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Guys, what do you make of Reyes Bangura-Williams? I mean, we praised him against Charlton. He come in, he scored 2 goals, 1 disallowed, and kept that 29-year record going thanks to him. Yesterday, he comes in. Dan Kelly gets injured. He then has to play a central role. And I don't know about you, I just felt that was such a mature performance there from Reyes. Like, he came in there and he looked at home. He was in control. He even slowed the game down at times. He picked the ball up from defence. He turned. And you can see that, Palace players almost standing off him and scared to approach him. Like, he was kind of pulling the strings at times, weren't he, in the middle? He's a young player. He's only, 21 years of age, alongside 20-year-olds in Del Boy as well. I mean, what do you make of Reyes? I mean, is he pushing for a starting place now, George?
Well, he showed great versatility, didn't he? He showed a different side.
Oh, yeah.
Looked years above his age, and he showed a different side to his game where he can drop in, and he was taking the ball off the centre back, and he was pinging it out wide, and he was looking for the ball, and he was breaking up play, and he was slowing the game down. And he looks years above what his age is, or what he's, and he's got to start regularly for me. So he's just mentioned it earlier, but to see him play in the 6 and the 8 last night was refreshing. It was a side which I've not seen from him before. So it's interesting where he starts regularly now, because he's got to play. Surely he's got to come into the team on Monday.
I guess to that point, Jasper, I hope you could answer it to George's point. Where does he play? Yeah, if we're not going to go for the 4-4-2, that probably suits Reyes, Bangura, Williams. If we play with 5, because he can then play in a more of a central position, in the 10 or in an 8, like George says. Where do you see if and should he start, in your opinion?
He's getting there, I would say. I watched him in the reserve game against Huddersfield, and he did not look like a player who was ready to play full 90 minutes yet. But he came on against Charlton, had a good cameo, and he played very well yesterday in a position he hasn't played for us in a long time. So he's banging on the door, I think, to be in the starting 11. Whether he will be on Monday, that's a different question. And to your point, I think he's more suited to play centrally, just like Neckley. It's just a question of, do they compete with each other? Can they play together as well? Of course, we got so many central options, when everyone's fit. So it's also a question of who's going to play then. But again, it depends on what system we play on Monday. I've got a feeling that we're going to play the four in the back, and then how we sort of orchestra the rest of the players on the pitch, I don't know, but it could be a 4-2-3-1, and he could potentially still be on the right. He could also be in the number 10. We don't know if Kundal is injured, or if he took a knock on Saturday, if he will play. He's definitely a more central player for me, and we get the best out of him centrally, compared to when he's playing on the right. That's for sure. Had a good game yesterday, really mature game, as you said, against a very experienced Premier League side. So full credit to him. And he's starting to look like the player he was when he first came onto the scene in February against Dagenham.
Yeah, Chris, you stay with Reyes for a minute. He's certainly looking a lot stronger and fitter. With more minutes. He did 60 minutes for the under-21s, came on against Charlton, played a lot of minutes yesterday as well. And we all know what he can do, but sometimes you need that fitness to build the confidence to then play, don't you, as well? I guess we're all struggling to see where does he fit in. At the moment, he'll play anywhere. If Axel plays him left back, he'll play left back. At the moment, he's playing quite a lot as a right winger, but he still drifts inside. With everybody fit and available, it's quite a headache, isn't it? I mean, surely, how do you pick the best 2 or the best 3 out of everyone we've got, including Billy Mitchell and Casper De Norre, of course, and of course Derek now, who's also shown that he's a big player and could also be a bigger player for us with more game time.
Yeah, it's a real. I think the selection headache is from midfield upwards. I don't think there's much of a selection headache at the back, if I'm honest. Based on, I would put money on the back 4 being Brian, Cooper, Taylor, Crammer on Monday. I would put a lot of money on that, and that obviously does move Crammer to right back, but that's what I think we'll do. Well, famous last words, but it is a selection headache. I think Reyes is someone that he just has the ability to impact games. He's got such a class about him, is what I would say. It's good that we don't have to play again on Saturday because it gives the players a little bit more rest. I did think Reyes looked a little bit leggy towards the end, and rightly so. He obviously he's building his match fitness up, right? So, but it'd be interesting to see, where he plays. I would think about him in the context of a 10. I really would. I think that's where his strongest position will be, and I think we'll play to his strengths. But it'd be very interesting to see how it all lines up. But what a nice problem to have if and when we have it, right? It's certainly not yet.
Well, that's the key point, right? If and when we have it, because a selection headache right now isn't actually a thing because half our squad's injured. We've got like 8 or 9 players currently in the treatment room. So, but you're right. Well, once everyone's fit, then there is obviously a headache there. But obviously, Alex Neil said in his post-match comments that both Luongo and Kundal actually missed out through almost like precaution, almost to see.
I'm hoping it's just that, George. Like it's not like it was just we really need them for Monday, so we're just not going to risk them. I was hoping it's just that.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Chris, I know you're going to have to shoot off in about 5 minutes. One of the things I want to raise a topic and discuss with you is a little bit of a divide in the fan base with regards to Jake Cooper. With the great work that we've seen Callum Taylor impress yesterday. We've seen lots of Kamal Grant performing, Cranmer doing really well. If we play a back four, and is there a question or a reason why Jake Cooper should lose his place now in that starting 11? Is that going to help the team? Is that going to benefit the team, or is that going to go against the team? I mean, where do you see that line? I mean, a lot of people are thinking we're actually playing better without Jake Cooper, but because we've got a little bit more speed and athleticism, I, for one, would want to keep Jake Cooper in there. I think that leadership, that experience of what he brings to that team is vitally important. But I don't know whether you share the same opinion as I do.
Is that really your opinion, Joe? I remember a bit of a debate in our chat, mate. I'm not sure you're being 100% honest there, Mr.
Well,
Mr. Zampa.
I said before, and I'll say this hand on heart, that I felt that sometimes playing Jake Cooper hinders our approach, because he's set up for a very defensive, low block to a Millwall team, which means we can't play a high line too much. We can't really press too high. We've seen it when we play a high line, he gets caught out sometimes. It happened against Tyrese Campbell against Charlton, where I think it was him or Joe Bryan lose the ball, and then we're in no man's land. Next minute, Tyrese Campbell breaks, counterattacks, and we're quite lucky he didn't score from there. So he has got that in his locker where he does make those mistakes, which means when he plays, it dictates how we play. Whereas I felt yesterday, there's so many times you see when we were clearing our lines, it was Tristan Cranmer that was saying, right, let's move up. And he kept pushing them to the halfway line. I don't know if you noticed that. And by him pressing to the halfway line, it didn't give Palace the space, because we had a low attacking block, a high defensive block. So you've got a very, very small block there, and the Palace players were trying to pass their way out, and they couldn't do it. And they did that for a reason. They knew that if there was a counter-attack, we had the pace with Cranmer and Sturge and Kamal Grant to mop up. What I'm saying is we can't play that system with Jake Cooper. So that's my only argument. But would I rather have him in the team than not in the team? 100% would I want him in the team. But we have to then play a system that suits him.
I think you make a value. I think everything you said is correct, and I think that is one of the drawbacks of Cooper. But I think you're agreeing with me, by the way, is that he brings so many positive things that it outweighs that at the minute. And I think for me, he will. It's not going to be years from now. It's probably next season or the season after. Where
how old is he now? Wish that was here to give us the answer.
I think he's
30, isn't he?
31.
Yeah.
Born in 95. So yeah, he's 30. He's 31.
30. Okay.
In February. So yeah, he's 30. He's
not old. No.
And I think that people just forget, how if you watch back the game against Charlton and you look at every single ball that went into the box, Cooper won it. Our box, I mean, he won everything. He just does. I'm not getting my words out right. He brings so much more that I just don't think that people see. And plus, he's always available, right? He's fairly consistent. I think at times he's proven his distribution is never going to be great. Let's be honest, but I just think he brings so much more. And yes, you're absolutely spot on around the pressing and the ability for the line. I get all that, but at the minute, I think we're very short-sighted if we write him off.
Well, this is an interesting point, right? So after the Charlton game, by the way, I actually fully agree with what you said, Joe. After the Charlton game, so I met up with the enemy for a few pints in London Bridge after I went to the Charlton mates. And I've met up with him for a pint, and obviously he's like, fucking God, because Charlton should have won, really. And so I was like, who do you think was Millwall's best player today? And both of them turned around and went, Jake Cooper.
Really?
Man, mounted. They both said Jake
there
Cooper.
You go. Yeah. Just shows you how important he is, to our side, and how other teams. It's not the first time I've heard opposition teams name him as a threat, both defensively and attack wise,
I think he's still crucial to what Millwall are doing at the moment of time. He's still got legs in him. He's the captain, offensively, defensively. I still think he should be on the team sheet most weeks.
And Jesper, coming to you next, we interviewed Jake Cooper. If you remember, we did this with the club. They're very kindly organised these player interviews. And one thing I spoke to Jake Cooper about was his ability to play on the ball. We've always associated Jake Cooper as being a bit of a no-nonsense defender, but Alex Neil seems to unearth this confidence in him to kind of play the ball out from the back and use his pass and play through the line. So there's definitely a player there on the ball. He's becoming like a bit of a ball-playing defender. What did you make of this argument with some fans out there saying that maybe he should be dropped, or whether we should, be playing other players ahead of him, certainly for starting?
No, I don't agree with that. I mean, he needs to play. He's got tons of experience, and I don't know if I would call him necessarily a ball-playing defender, but he's more of a ball-playing defender now than he was maybe under previous managers. I think he's a defender who does what he's told to do by the manager, and you can see also he goes direct at times. When we try to switch it from one side to the other, and I think he's got a decent passing on him without being one of the best ball-playing defenders in the world, but he's got a pass on him, and he can pass the ball just like Caleb Taylor can, and Tristan can, and they're not these old school type of defenders, and now for me he plays alongside with Caleb, and then we move Tristan to right back, and whether Sturge or Brian then starts, I don't know, but I don't think there's any argument there, not for me at least. Then Kamal Grant, I'm happy the way he's been playing in the Carabao Cup shows that he's ready, I think, to step up to this level if needed. So we got a bit of cover there, and then obviously we got Leonard as well, who can be a hybrid between a centre back and a right back. So, but in terms of the Jake Cooper discussion, no. I mean, it's for me, it's crystal clear he needs to play.
Yeah,
for now.
Nice one. Cheers, Chris. You're gonna have to love us and leave us, ain't you? You got your dinner getting cold at the moment. Again, just let the listeners know what's happening. If they just joined us late into the show, let them know what's happening this weekend, if you don't mind, just so we get some last bits of donations in, if they'd be so kind to do that.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah. So I'm walking the Shine Walk, which is a Cancer Research UK event, which is essentially walking the marathon. It's not quite the same route, but it is 26.2 miles or something, or whatever it is, through the night on Saturday. Really looking forward to it, as long as the knee holds up. And if you'd like to donate, the link is everywhere, so I'm sure you'll find it. And just thank you to everyone that either has donated or will be. It is much appreciated. Mm-hmm. And just before I go, I'd love you boys to talk a bit about Zack Sturge, because I also thought he had a really good performance last night.
Yes, and, he's on my list, and we're definitely going to cover him. And what's the total so far? How much do you raise for that, Chris? Sorry,
just over 1,300.
Wow.
So,
and what's your target? Sorry,
I didn't really set one, to be honest. But it would be lovely to get above 1,500, heading towards two grand. That would be. Okay. That would be a marvellous effort.
If we could get to $2,000 by the weekend, will you promise to let Stato walk with you for 10 hours and feed you stats the whole way through? Will you promise to do that? Will you do it? $2,000? That's a deal, yeah.
I'll tell you, if we get $2,000, I mean, you can definitely ask me to do something.
Right, listeners, there you go. We get to $2,000. And Chris will do a forfeit. One of the forfeits would be that Stato will do the whole walk with him the whole way around. Stato doesn't know this, poor guy. He's probably thinking I might be in bed.
He's getting his stats ready.
He did say that he might be available for it, didn't he? So this might be the little push he needs to make it happy. But we'll let you go, Chris. I know you got to show off. Stato's going to come on and replace you in a minute, isn't he? So thank you so much. Oh, there he is. Look, Stato. we just agreed. If we get to £2,000, you're going to go and do the walk with Chris this weekend.
No, he wanted 20 quid earlier. He said something about 20 quid, a comment, wasn't it?
I want more than 20 quid.
No offense, Stephen, but he wants more than 20 quid.
Right. Love you all. See you later.
All right. Take care. See you later.
Take care.
See you later. Good luck. Right. Where are we? Okay. Stato, cheers for joining us. There's a little
That's
bit of
all right.
feedback there. Is it me or is it you? Can anyone hear some feedback there?
Yes.
Have you guys got feedback?
Yeah.
I think it's from your mic. Have you got anything different set up there? You got new headphones
Yeah.
or anything like that? Have you,
Yeah,
maybe?
give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll leave and come back. 2 seconds.
All right. Okay. No problem. Guys, there's no better time to go on to the next stage. Zack Sturge. I thought he had a slow start to the game. It took him like sort of 10, 15 minutes to kind of get into the game yesterday. But when he did, oh my God. I mean, he looked quality. I mean, he looked Premiership quality. He's up against a Premiership fullback in Muniz, who's been excellent for the last 2 seasons. And he just made him look average, didn't he? I mean, I don't know who wants to go first on that one.
Yeah, I'll go first on the topic of Zack Sturge. I actually thought he had a difficult first couple of 10 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. I thought he struggled a little bit, gave away a few fouls. The Crystal Palace right wing back Munoz, I mean, they signed him from, I think it was Genk or Gent in, I don't know, one of them teams.
Was he in Belgium?
Belgium league. And he's very aggressive. He's got loads of energy. He gets up and down. He's a good fullback. He's been a very good signing for him. So he struggled at first, but after that, I thought we dealt with him really well. He got forward. He showed great athleticism. That's definitely the word of the day, athleticism. He got up and down really well, and I thought he was extremely impressive. And he certainly won for the future, obviously, with Joe Bryan sort of in the same position as him, who he can sort of learn off, etc. But I thought he was very good last night. Zack Sturge, he was certainly one of our standout players.
Yeah, I can't agree with you, George. You said Muniz was getting frustrated. That's how good Sturge was, you know. And he just beat him everywhere, didn't he? He beat him in speed, in thinking, in the tackles, everything. You know, it was incredible. Jess, what did you make of Zack Sturge yesterday? His performance?
Yeah, a really great performance and really grew into the game. Very aggressive, you know. That's something I really like to see, especially after Saturday, where we sort of lacked that in the team. So I think what Alex Neil probably wants to see from Sturge is a bit more going forward, you know, contributing a bit more. But I think he can add that, and I think we've seen glimpses of him doing that as well. So yeah, it will be nice to see sort of, you know, down the road, you know, a partnership with Sturge and then another left winger really get going. I think we can really do something really exciting there. So no, really good performance. Broke up play plenty of time, frustrated their winger, and got forward and nearly got a goal as well in the first half. So no, overall very positive performance, and it will be interesting to see if he starts Monday or if it will be Bryan.
He had a tough gig there. He had a really tough gig up against that Palace right wing back, and I thought it was just impressive, just how well he did to keep him frustrated, to keep him quiet. So very impressive. Very impressive.
It's like a light bulb went off, didn't it, George? Almost. He kind of had the first 10 minutes, as you say, where he's thinking like, "Whoa, hang on a minute, this is another level I'm playing at," and then all of a sudden it just clicked, and that was it. He was like, "Right, I'm going to win this battle," and that was it. He just won everything after that. Stato, we're going to come to you next. Before we go to Stato, guys, in the chat, just out of curiosity, with both Joe Bryan and Zack Sturge fit, who would you like to see at left back? Who would be your preference? Just put Sturge or Bryan. We'll come back to you in a second. Stato, how are you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, mate. Is that better? The headphones?
Yes. Yeah. Much better. There's some feedback on the other one. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. Just on the subject of Sturge. The thing is you guys were talking, and I think George mentioned it. Under Rowett, we were asking Danny McNamara to play in a wing-back role, which obviously didn't suit him. I'm not convinced Sturge can play as an out-and-out left-back, but as a wing-back, I think he's just better because he's got the confidence that he's got perhaps someone behind him that's a little bit more to give him a little bit more cover. He can go forward, and his pace can get him a little bit out of trouble. So when we talk about Joe Bryan or Zack Sturge, I think it's a bit horses for courses on what you expect. I think Bryan, whilst he's got the quality, I don't think you're going to see the best out of him in a wing back role anymore. I don't think he's got the legs to be consistently up and down. People might disagree and say that maybe going forward, Bryan might be better than he is defensively. But I think that's where I think last night Sturge was the right person to play in a wing back role.
I think, Stato, with Bryan, it's interesting you say that. I think that's changed slightly. I think when we first brought him on, we saw him as this kind of attacking left wing back, if you like. Whereas, I don't know, just last year or so, I'm seeing him more of a defensive-minded fullback rather than an attacking fullback. because Sturge does get forward, and we've seen him and Marco like work quite well, where he'll overlap and Marco puts balls through till he gets to the byline. I can't remember the last time I see Joe Bryan get to the byline. That's no criticism of him, but I think he tends to kind of do his work a little bit deeper. He'll put crosses in like he did for Kundal against Charlton, whereas Sturge is more the sort of player to kind of go beyond the winger, if you like, and then look for the overlap.
That's what I mean. I think if you play, if we're going to go with 4 at the back, I like Sturge, and I really think I said it at the back end of last year. I think it's someone we can develop moving forward. But if you're going to go 4 at the back, I think you play Bryan. I don't think you go with Sturge. That being said, with who's available, God knows how we're going to set up. Are we going to play 5 at the back? Are we going to play 3? Is it 2 centre halves, whatever? So, but I thought Sturge was excellent. I think initially the occasion was maybe getting into a little bit, and as soon as he settled, he was excellent. And Munoz is for anybody that plays the FPL, scores a lot of points on that. He does very, very well in the game. So
he is in my team. He's in my FPL team, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Just for those of you, a bit like myself, who don't really know the FPL and how it works, how does the point scoring work that allows him to do so well? Just so we understand it.
Sorry, just before Joe, you set up the Chat with Chaps FPL league.
No, not the Championship one. So is it the same rules? Is it?
No.
So I do the Premier League one.
Yeah, Munoz plays for Crystal Palace, mate.
I thought about Sturge. Sorry.
No. Munoz is one of the highest scoring players in the FPL.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sorry.
And Zack Sturge managed to keep him quiet. That's all you really need to say. Yeah. Someone who gets a lot of assists had absolutely no joy whatsoever.
Yeah, a lot of love coming in for Sturge here. There are a few Bryans. The lovely Rosalind's big fan of Joe. But most of the guys here putting Sturge in there, George. I think a lot of them are in agreement at the moment. But yeah, I just feel that with more game time, again, he's young, George, and he's going to get better and better, surely,
He is, but I think having Joe Bryan there in the same position as him, who is his birthday today. So if you're watching,
Happy birthday, Joe!
Birthday, Joe Bryan. Yeah, I think it's a good experience to learn off. Almost like Zack Sturge is the young prodigy.
Yes, 100%. 100%. He's the understudy.
You're absolutely spot on. He actually said that, and I think Joe Bryan's sort of person. I hear this a lot, from a few of the players you hear him talk about him. He's almost like the Uncle Joe. I mean, everyone mucks around, calls Wes Uncle Wes, but I think Joe is the uncle. He's the one there that's kind of putting the arm around their shoulders, talking to them, helping them, developing them. And I think there's every single player in that team like Joe Bryan because he's so, good at what he does. He's very good at talking to them, giving advice to them. I think Sturge mentioned it in the previous interviews that he's going to learn a lot from Joe Bryan. I can see the logic behind getting him in, and as you say, being an understudy to Joe.
100%. I think that applies. I actually think that applies to a few of our players. I think Joe Bryan does a good job looking after Marco. He was one of the players that went to console him after missing the penalty. Last night. I also think someone, not Joe Bryan specifically here, but I think players like, for example, Derek, doesn't speak French, so he's reliant on
speak English. You mean? Yeah.
Sorry, he doesn't speak English. He speaks French. Yeah. So you've got Tristan Kramer and Casper De Norre. Now, Casper De Norre is probably the perfect person for him to be around because he plays in his position.
And Joe as well. Joe Bryan speaks French, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So,
you've got a few French, and I speak a little bit of French. A little bit of mais oui, and Champs-Élysées, and I know a little bit. I can get by anyway. Put it that way.
Yeah, sure you can.
Yeah, but the point being is that we've got a good crop of players there. We've got a decent squad. They all look out for each other. I've heard a couple of players mention it's probably not the best squads that they've ever been in.
I think Joe, what was very positive from yesterday is like when we looked at the bench for the last couple of games before the Palace game. We looked at the bench and we said, this is we're thin on ice here. With the likes of Grant and Howland and Derek and now we've seen them in action against a team like Palace, and it might be might be an incentive for Alex Neil to play them a bit more often, and also for us as fans to say like, okay, the benches might not be as bad as we make it out to be. So that was very positive, considering also the amount of players that we're missing right now. That we have young players ready to step up now, maybe, and even make a difference as well.
Yeah, guys, we're at the 75th minute mark. We're in the last 15 minutes of the 90 minutes, so we're going to wrap up soon. George, I want to come to you next. Just want to get your thoughts on Jack Howland. Obviously, he's a young lad that's getting lots of praises for the under-21s. Almost becoming like one of the better players, almost too good for the under-21s at the moment, and he's knocking on the first team door. He's had opportunities in the past, but he hasn't really impressed. But yesterday he came on, and we saw a different side to his game. He got the assist as well from the corner. What would you make of Jack Howland, and can he make the step up regularly, in your opinion?
Yeah, it was a very impressive cameo yesterday. I mean, going back to pre-season where he scored a great goal against Wimbledon in pre-season. I know it's pre-season, but for a young player to come in against, I
was there, great goal,
first game in senior men's football. I thought he's really kicked on clearly because he's been playing regularly for the under-21s and he's been playing well there. I think he got some minutes against Newport as well. And maybe another game. And then obviously came off the bench yesterday and looked extremely lively. Obviously, I think we mentioned it earlier, but he went on a nice little run down the right-hand side, took on a few men and then cut inside and then delivered a nice pass and then got the assist for the goal. So Steve Gallen would label him as an asset for sure. Certainly in the next few years, he'll be a great asset for the football club. And which so hopefully he can just develop. Not put too much pressure on the kid. I think that's important. Not put too much pressure to perform, and every time just play with freedom, because that's what he did last night. Came on and he played with freedom, and it was great to see. It was really good to see. So hopefully he can kick on.
Yeah, nice one, George. Stato, coming to yourself next. Just to get your thoughts on Jack Howland. What do you make of his performance, and is he someone who you think could push on and take a place for a first team position in the team at the moment?
Yeah, someone on Twitter replied to something I posted about the level of performance and said, I didn't mention Howland, but this person did, and saying, is he going to be knocking on the door of Alex Neil, saying, can I get some more game time, sort of thing. And if those that are in front of him are not performing, this is how football really should work. You've got your first team. If they're not performing, you put someone in that might be able to produce better numbers. Well, if the lads in front of him are not producing numbers, we haven't scored that. We scored 4 goals in the league in 5 games. I don't see why we can't be looking at giving him an opportunity. Certainly, even just coming off the bench if it's not working in game. I think again, George said there, you can't put too much pressure on him, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. It happens. He's a young player. It's a position that you're desperate for some creativity. But I think he was clearly touted as a talent, and I think everyone can see that he's got something about him. He's got that little bit of a spark. So how do you get that out of a player? You give him an opportunity to play. So if Negley or whoever's not going to do it, he might.
Yeah. You're right. And Jesper, coming to yourself next. I mean, at this age, we've seen it with Reyes and other players. They get to the age of 20 years old, 21, where they're still developing, they're still improving and getting better. I guess to Stato's point, you're only going to get better by playing games. So again, where do you see Jack Howland going? I mean, Chris mentioned earlier, we could kind of almost guarantee what our back 4 is or back 3, whatever we were going to play. But from the midfield going forward, everything's up for grabs at the moment, isn't it? I mean, can he really push for a place in the team? How is he going to get first team minutes?
Well, I think Stephen just said it. If the players in front of him is not performing, then why shouldn't we give him a chance? He's doing well, very well. When he comes on, he was effective yesterday. He's got an assist now. Would do him the world of good. It was a brilliant corner, by the way. And that's what good delivery does. Gives you goals. It's not just about and
under pressure, right? Under pressure, it's not your first minute. You've got the Palace fans to your side, giving you crap in your ear, whatever. To then have that maturity to then ping that ball in the way he did, credit to him.
But he is a young kid, and he needs to learn as well. And I think where he needs to probably improve is off the ball game. His on the ball game is brilliant. He's got that close control. He's got that composure about him. He doesn't lose the ball very often. seems like a strong lad. Actually, he doesn't get bullied off the ball quite easily. So he's already got lots of good traits. But I think, like it was with Esse, it's probably his off the ball. The formation wise needs to know how to run. When we don't have the ball. But I think certainly on the ball, he's got great talent, and it will be interesting. I think he was one of the few youngsters as well who got probably a bit more game time than the others when we went to Spain, and also in the games that we had in England as well. He played a bit more than the others. So I think Alex Neil certainly sees something in him, and I don't think he will be one who goes out on loan. I think he could be one of those who improves and develops quite rapidly. And he seems to, like, every step he takes from the under 18 to the under 21s and now to the first team, he just, he fits in smoothly, and he doesn't seem to have a challenge to overcome that next level. So
I know Kevin Nugent.
Really exciting.
I know Kevin Nugent's a big fan of his, Kevin Nugent. And I guess, a lot of the information that's going to be passed on to Alex Neil, it's all going to be done through, the academy coaches and the under 18 managers, under 21 managers. And if they're saying, look, this Jack Howland, he's the real deal. I guess you're gonna take it seriously. Look at him and give him the opportunities to jump on. But I appreciate that, Jesper. Thanks very much. Just want to drop another one in there, guys. We did talk about him very loosely against Charlton, but I really want to do a little bit more of an in-depth one on Camille Niakate at the moment. I, for one, like everything about it. I love the way he plays. I like his style. He seems like a very continental, left-footed inside forward, which I think could play the 10 or as inside winger. But he's clearly struggling with some kind of form or conditioning at the moment. He looked quite tired. There's many times he had his hands or his knees bending over during the game yesterday. Is that a part of it, George? Do you think it's a fitness thing? Do you think it's a mental thing? Why are we not quite getting the best out of him at the moment?
Bit of both. I think the jury is certainly still out on him. I don't think we're playing him in the right position. Where we signed him from the Dutch league, I don't know if he was an out-and-out winger for them. I'm not sure, but every time I've seen him play, he looks more of a number 10 or an inside forward. Certainly, he's not your traditional touchline winger. He likes the little intricate. He likes players to come near him. Likes to play 1-2s. Tight spaces is where he's definitely. That's where he's at. That's where he's.
Would you say maybe the 10 might suit him better in that case to play those little tight spaces, maybe?
Yeah, so in that case, yeah, I think.
The chance he had. Sorry to interrupt you there, George, but the chance he had yesterday, where he done a little 1-2 with Ivanovic and Ballo, he was in that kind of position, weren't he, at the time, breaking forward?
Yeah, he was certainly playing as more of an inside forward / number 10, a lot closer to Ivanovic rather than a touchline winger. And I think he definitely got on the ball yesterday more than I thought he did against Charlton, and he looked more lively. It's just in front of goal, that final product, that finish, which he lacked yesterday. I mean, he missed an absolute sitter in the first half. I had my hands on my head thinking, how the hell
couldn't
did you
believe it?
Couldn't believe it. But
was that chance, George? Was that chance harder? I mean, you play a bit of football, don't you? I know Stato tries to play a bit of football, and so does Jesper. They can't all be good as you and I, can they, George? But when you're in that position, you're in front of goal, how easy or difficult is that chance, in your opinion? And when you're there, in that occasion, and you've got to keep the kid that comes out rushing out off his line like that, should he be burying that one, or do you think that's quite a difficult chance?
It's a difficult finish, but it just required a little bit of composure, really. Just get his head up, make sure you make a clean contact with the football, and almost just guide it into the bottom corner. Obviously, the goalkeeper's rushing out. He's a big goalkeeper. And maybe the bright lights maybe got to him a little bit, but it just required a little bit of composure. And maybe that's where mentally, confidence-wise, he's not quite 100% Niakate, because if he was confident, he probably takes that opportunity, but not quite. But it was certainly, it was a bad miss rather than a hard opportunity, if that makes sense.
I get you. I know what you mean. Stato, just come to you next room, mate. Yeah.
I think Josh Coburn's got pictures of you on his wall. After that miss yesterday, I think he's been watching you, mate. The clips from the charity game.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Miss from inside the 6-yard box. That's a Joe Zampa special.
What? This?
Now show the other one. Now show the other one.
That's the only one I've got.
Go on. Show the other one. Be brave.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, moving on. Stato, what's your thoughts on Negley? I mean, he's clearly struggling with something at the moment. He's had a lot of game time. Alex Neil's shown a lot of faith and a lot of opportunities given him, but he's not quite firing, is he, at the moment?
I've been trying to defend him as much as possible. I really have. You sort of want him to succeed, because you want him to be that, transfer from abroad, comes over. He was the record transfer, don't forget, as well. I think that plays a part in the expectation on him. And you just want it to work. And I can't help but feel like we've bought him, but not really recruited properly in that sense. And I'll explain that. When you buy players and you sign players, you must see how they're going to fit into the first team. If someone has gone out and said, Alex, I've got a right winger for you. I've got someone who's fantastic. He cuts in on his left. He's this, that, and the other. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing that from him. So we've almost recruited a player based on his ability in a position that it's just not right for us. I thought Saturday he was absolutely shocking against Charlton. Most of them were, to be fair. A little bit better last night, but again, I put a comment up earlier, and I maybe for you guys to discuss. Are we facing a little bit of if we play with a number 10? Me personally, I would go Bangura Williams. I don't know what you guys think, if he would be your preferred choice over the two, but you're battling the free Bangura Williams, who obviously we signed from another club, but he's into the academy, or the former transfer record in Camille Niakate. And is there pressures on Alex Neil to play Niakate because we've paid that money for him? That's the concern I have.
Good point, because you could argue that Bangura Williams is probably more deserving of a starting place over Niakate, and he can play that right side, and he is left footed. He can still do whatever he does. But you're right, it's the pressure there, saying that we spent £3-4 million on Niakate, therefore we've got to make it work. At the expense of Bangura Williams. Who knows?
Joe. Sorry, just on that, maybe we can come back to this, but that's also why I think that Alex Neil, up until Saturday, persisted with the two strikers. We've paid big money for Josh Coburn. There's a big price tag on Mihailo Ivanovic. There's no way the board are gonna say, oh yeah, put one of them on the bench. And that's why we've persisted. And that might change, but that's why we persisted with it, in my opinion.
It feels like a big luxury. Rob T just made a good point here. He's saying you can't play Niakate wide in the 4-4-2. And reading that, it makes me think to myself, Stato mentioned there he had a poor game against Charlton, wasn't too great before. He played better yesterday. Is it because in a 4-4-2, we're asking him to defend and do a lot more work off the ball? Whereas sometimes when you play that 3-4-3 formation, where you're looked upon as more of an attacking threat rather than having to sort of track back and defend, it kind of plays his strength a bit more. Do you see where I'm coming from a little bit here?
Yeah, I do. I don't think you can take that out of the game. You need to defend as a team as well. So you can't just say to one player, now you can just stay up. So I don't think it's that. I just think, we need to get him into positions where he's closer to goal. He shouldn't get the ball on the halfway line and then start an attack. He needs to be further up the pitch when he gets the ball, because he's not pacey as such, but he likes to get on the ball. I think if he gets the ball 10, 50 meters, further forward, he can be more dangerous. I think he has a really good shot. He gets into some good positions as well. He had a good chance against a good shot against Sheffield United. He had a good chance against Norwich. He got the goal against Norwich as well. So he gets into these positions, but he needs to get the ball further forward and not start an attack, in our own half or at the halfway line. So I do agree with the fact that I think he's being ineffective in the 4-4-2 wide. And we also have to remember that when we were successful last season in a 4-4-2, he didn't play. It was Honeyman on the right. It was Femi on the left. Now it's Marco and it's Niakate.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Jester, but they're also two very, very hard-working midfielders that like to track back, help out, get forward. That's not really Niakale's game, is it? And to Jeff Chandler's point here, Niakate is a 10, pure and simple. It's bleeding off. He's playing his best position. Then if he's not cutting it, then we can say he's had his chance, and not when he's being played out of position. And I think That's the key, isn't it? It's playing players in their preferred position in the right formation, isn't it?
Yeah, but I still think that he can play, to the right in a 4-2-3-1 formation, but he just needs to get the ball further forward to be more effective. That yesterday he was on the ball, he got forward, he had a good chance. He looks like a player who lacks confidence, and he reminds me a little bit about Femi when he came to the club last season.
Yeah, very much so.
And when he played, and people said, "Oh, he looks slow," he loses the ball. Etc. And he came, I think maybe sometimes, as Stephen said, it's about adjusting to the championship. The level of football in the championship might not be better than it is in Holland, but the tempo, it's definitely, it's quicker, it's more fast paced, and he has to get used to that. And I think hopefully once he does, we might start to see the better of him. But again, the jury's out for me. I haven't lost faith in him. I haven't lost hope. He's lacking in confidence. Played 10, 11 games for us, and 2 or 3 of them were, last season. So he hasn't played much football. So he's still got I still think he will come good. I hope he will. And I think we have to take the price tag out of these, conversations, at one point as well, because some of the players we're going to buy are not going to cut it. That's how it's going to be. And I know that we're spending 2, 3, 4 million on players now. We're also selling players now for like 7, 10, 12 millions. So, that's the name of the game. It's not very Millwall-like, but it's how it's developing. And we just, for me, I don't care whether we sell Bangura Williams or Neckley. If we paid 3.5 or we got him for free, as long as they perform, that's the most important. And we have to spend to try and be better. Some of them will cut it. I think most of them have so far. But of course, with the price tag on Coburn, on Neckley as well, people might thinking should be performing better, and rightly so. But I still think we've got 2 good players. If they hit form, it goes for Neckley as well.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for that, Jesper. Really appreciate it, guys. We've hit the 90-minute mark. We're into injury time at the moment, so we need to kind of wrap up and end things off. One announcement the club made today is Rafik Lamptey has just signed a new contract. I'm guessing it's going to be some kind of lengthy contract. They do like sort of tie their youngsters now, don't they, to a decent contract. So congratulations to Rafik Lamptey. He's certainly someone who I think again could make an impact in the next year or two. Good young talented player and a great kid as well, I'm hearing. So congratulations, Rafik. Guys, on Monday we have an 8 o'clock kickoff against Watford at home. Watford not really setting the world alight at the moment. They're going through a bit of a rocky start. We've played them, many times we've beaten them. We've got good results against them. They're not a team that we fear, let's be honest. George, how do you see that game going on Monday? And what's your score prediction? And guys, in the chat as well, give us your score prediction for Monday's game against Watford and who you think is going to score as well. Off you go, George.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to know what the team will be formation-wise. It'll be interesting to know what system we go with. Will we revert back to a 4-4-2? Will we stick with the 5 at the back, or will we completely bin them both off and go to a more suited, let's just say, 4-2-3-1? So the formation and the system will be one big talking point, but the game itself, say, Watford haven't necessarily had a great start to this season. They're not setting the world alight. And at home, obviously, we haven't started particularly well. Two games and 2 losses in the league at home so far, but that's got to change eventually, because if we do have ambitions of being in certainly the top half of the table or pushing towards the playoffs, then we need to start picking up points from home. So I'm going to be optimistic as always, and I'm going to say Millwall are going to win the game by 2-0.
Who's going to score, George?
Who's going to score? If I think he'll go to a 4-2-3-1, and I think he's going to drop Coburn, and he's going to play Ivanovic, and I think Ivanovic will score. And I think there'll be a 1-up from the back. I think Tristan Kramer's going to score his first goal for Millwall.
Yeah, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Good stuff. Stato, coming to yourself next, mate. Cheers for coming on. I know you got the last half an hour, but I appreciate you you give up your time. What's your prediction for Monday, and who you think is going to score?
When Chris does it, when Chris's knee goes, then I'll have a permanent spot in the team, a bit like the Millwall. He'll have to go to the Millwall physio.
You'd take over the channel, wouldn't you? Exactly. Yeah.
No, I was watching. I like coming on and having a bit of a chat about it, as you know, Joe. So thanks for having me on. But I think Watford are, again, they're just a funny club, aren't they? They change their manager every other month. It seems that they don't seem to be able to find that winning formula on a regular basis. To echo what George said, we've been poor really at home, apart from that first 20 minutes against Borough. So I think we do go 4-2-3-1. I think we do change the system. I am going to go slightly different to what was just said, and I actually think he'll start with Coburn.
Right, interesting. Yeah. What makes you say that then?
Well, I know we're approaching the end of the show, but I think there's certainly a conversation to be had about Ivanovic, because something isn't quite right. And I said it earlier, if Coburn scores the goal yesterday at Palace, everyone's talking about how well Josh Coburn played in that second half. I thought he was very, very good. He held the ball up well. He battled. He brought people into play. That's what you want from a striker when you've got lots of attacking players around him. And I think Alex Neil will see that and be encouraged by it. And I think he will start with Coburn. I'm going to go 2-1 to Millwall. I think we'll see Bangura Williams score. That might be a little bit of wishful thinking, but I think he's just a baller. He's so good. He's got to play for me. I think we'll see him score, and I think we'll see a debut goal. But I think we'll see a debut goal for Mr. Ballo. I was impressed with him as well, and I think he looked like he's got an eye for goal and good around the box. So yeah, 2-1.
Certainly looked lively, didn't he, Ballo, when he come on? And I agree with you with Bangura Williams. I think the guy just needs to play. He's got to keep playing him, because when he plays, shit happens. Like, it's not that hard to see, is it? Jesper, coming to yourself next, mate. What's your prediction for Monday against Watford, and who you see scoring?
Tough one. I don't really know what to expect. I do expect the team, performing better than what we have done so far this season at home. It's not been great. So my heart says 1-0. I don't know what my head says, because it's been a bit night and day at the beginning of the season. I'm going to go 1-0. And like Stephen, I think Ballo will get his first goal off the bench.
Yeah, like that. Lots of 2-0s and 2-1s. You know what I do normally? When I get loads of scores similar, I tend to put a cheeky little bet on, don't I? So I think I'm going to go for 2-0. So lots of 2-0s there. Look, from Jeff Cook, Colin, John FC, 2 Crammer penalties. I'd love to see that. I'll probably get good odds for that at the moment. 2-0. So yeah, I'm going to go for 2-0. Goal scorers, I'm going to go for Bangura Williams and Ivanovic. I think Ivanovic needs a goal. It's going to happen, and I can see it happening next Monday under the lights at the Den at 8 p.m. on Monday. So don't forget, guys, no game this Saturday. It's going to be on Monday at 8 p.m. Lads, thank you so much for giving up your time so generously. Anything you want to say before we wrap up and say goodbye to the listeners? Jesper, come to yourself first.
No, I just want to say keep the faith. Our season normally starts now. Autumn is coming. The leaves are falling off the trees. The pitches are getting worse. This is usually when the Millwall season starts. We're not good in the summer. When the pitches are perfect and the sun is shining. So let's hope that we're on an upwards trajectory. Is that what it's called? Trajectory. Yeah. And then we can start our season now. And look, there's been some positive moments. There's been some negative ones as well. But I think yesterday's performance warrants more positive thoughts than negative. So keep the faith. I think our season starts now.
Good stuff. And then Stato, any final words from you before we wrap up?
Yeah, just echo what Jesper said. It's been indifferent. We are slow starters. That doesn't excuse some of the performances, by the way, but we do typically take a little bit of time to get going. So I do think that we do need to take that into consideration. There's a squad here full of talent. It's just how many players can we keep fit at the moment is the issue. And when they are out on the pitch, if they give it everything like they did yesterday, they'll get one hell of a backing. We just need to see that a little bit more often, and hopefully that starts on Monday with Watford.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers for that, Stato. Thanks, Jesper. And then last words with yourself, George. George, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been long overdue. Like I said, glad you're on, and glad you've got some Wi-Fi now, so we can actually hear what you're saying for a change. But yeah, cheers for coming on, mate. Any last words for the listeners before you go?
No. I'd say thanks. It's been great to come back on. It's obviously been a while, long overdue, but hopefully I can be on more consistently. Certainly going forward with a much better laptop and much better Wi-Fi. Let's just hope we don't get any more injuries, because injuries will ultimately decide our season. So let's just hope, fingers crossed, we can keep a majority of our current squad fit, get some of the players which are currently out on the treatment table back fit, back into the squad, so we can start gaining some consistency and results and hopefully push up the table.
Absolutely brilliant. And George, you and I are both young. We're both cool. We know we're with it. The oldies that are listening, that are not really aware of TikTok and how it all works, stuff like that. Could you give them your TikTok label so they know where to find you on TikTok and watch all your videos on there?
Yeah, nice one, Joe. So my TikTok is @GeorgeMFC1. I practically talk about Millwall on TikTok, all things Millwall, very opinionated through maybe unpopular opinions, etc. But it's an opportunity for people over on TikTok to interact and talk about Millwall. And even on Monday, the Watford game, I'm happy to be in the press box, which would be great. So I can film my own content. I can do my own match analysis from the press box. So that will be good. But yeah, it's at George.C9. I previously quoted my Twitter handle. At George.
So let me put it in there, guys. So it's at where are we? At George. Yeah.
So are you typing with one finger? Is that how you youngsters do it? Yeah.
Fingers. I do two now. At George, was it? Sorry, George.
At George.C9.
C9.
Yeah.
Right. There you go, guys. So that's in the chat. If you want to copy and paste that into TikTok, make sure you follow George on there. He's got loads of videos. You can scroll through, watch his videos. He does put the videos out quite regularly as well. They are really, really good. And good watch. So make sure you follow him, guys. Right, that's it, guys. Thank you so much, and we really do appreciate you being with us this evening. It's been really enjoyable this evening, and we will be back again next Tuesday. Back to normal time, Tuesday, 7 p.m. and we'll hope to see you then. So from all of us, thank you very much for being with us, and we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, guys.
This is Casper de Nora, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.